content of this session, which is really about teaching this leadership and framework in the rubric. I would love to just hear some reflections after you read that story. First, like, wouldn't it be great if every teacher was like this to you? Like, awesome. What strikes you as most significant about the way that she operates? Like, what are some things you were thinking about the way that she operates?
How she used, well, she had the goal, but then she used measurable things to actually drive the decisions she made. Like, she looked at the data to make all of her decisions.
Yep, so she had a goal and then she used that to drive her decisions. What we talked about earlier today. Great. Thanks, Lauren. Anybody else? Yep.
Just everything she did was so purposeful. Like, there was no mention of things she was doing that were not completely, that were just not going to completely disrupt and impact the students towards their goal. And, you know, she made those decisions, and then further, she really expressed it to them in a way that they could then make those decisions for themselves.
Yep, perfect. I thought, Denise?
Self-control by actually working with her students.
Yep.
Instead of just letting the experience the learner, she wanted to make sure that she had more control over getting into high school.
Great. And I think also implicit in this story, which we don't read here, is she has to probably persevere through a whole lot of different things too, right? I mean, there's some inherent challenges in being a teacher. And she obviously, in order for her to meet these ambitious goals she has for her students, in order for her to work hard to work, in order for her to experience levels of control, all of that, like, she has to probably overcome some challenges. So she probably had a pretty good sense of RPR, just a possibility. She was doing those things. In your experience, like, what must a new teacher believe in order to develop into a new student? Yep. Say your name for me.
Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hi. I think the thing that just stood out to me was that third paragraph where she was like, my students deserve better opportunities, and I'm the person that would help provide those to these students. And I think, number one, she believed in, you know, equity for all of her students, but believed that she was a major catalyst in providing that to them. And I think those two beliefs are, you know, key.
Perfect. And I think big is that she believed that she could do it, right? Like, she had to believe it in herself. Like, yeah, my students can be held to high expectations, but it's me who's going to actually make sure they get there. Thank you very much, Laura.
Yeah, just to expand, it's not only that she could do it, but that she must do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sometimes is like a key difference. And thinking like, I can do it or I should do it, it's the right thing, it's the sense of like optimism, but actually it's like, it's our most profound responsibility to do it. Like, it's something that we must do.
Yeah, thank you so much. So last question, what are the consequences for both the teachers and their students when they don't develop those beliefs, when they don't believe their students can achieve, when they don't believe they can become the teacher that their students need? What are some of the consequences of that? So,
I think we sort of see it in the flip of what actually happened to our students. You know, it's sort of setting your students off on not on the high path. You know, it's maintaining the status quo for students. If we don't maintain those beliefs, if we don't develop those in new teachers, the students will never have the opportunity to try for these more advanced programs, these gifted and talented programs. It's never going to be available to them.
Great, thank you, Ariana. Any other thoughts or consequences, Lindsay?
I was going to say it would almost be just like she wasn't there. I mean, that they would go on the same path that they would have continued on had she not ever been a part of their lives. I also really noticed that one of the big beliefs she had was that the parents would want the same for their students. I think that a common misconception is that idea that maybe the parents don't have time or the parents aren't as invested, and so she really had that belief that the parents would want the very best for their students, as most parents do, and went about really investing them. And if she had done that, or if a core member didn't do that, they wouldn't have been able to get those same results for the students had they not invested the parents in that same way.
Exactly, thank you. Any other thoughts? Great. So I think this is great. We read this great story about Gillette Hughes. She had great things for her students. She worked really hard to make sure that she's able to do that. But the reality is that not every teacher who enters the institute is going to leave after their 2 years having the same achievement that she has. It's just not our reality. But the power that's in this room right now, core members are going to come to us first, and we have the power to really instill in them the values and the different disciplines that it takes in order for them to become the different Gillette Hugheses of 2011, right? 2 years from now. Okay. So this is what this session is about. We're going to talk a little bit about the TAL framework, teaching and leadership as a whole, and then we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the TAL rubric and how that can be a catalyst in and of itself, and making sure that our core members are going to lead with these different kind of beliefs, these different skills, these different principles, in order for them to be successful in their classrooms. So just a little bit about the TAL framework. We didn't make this up. Like, this isn't something Teach for America went and we just created it. This is what good leaders do across all different sectors. Teaching is leadership. Gillette, Hughes, some person in the business world, whomever. They set their goals, they invest folks, they plan accordingly, they execute on those plans, they work really hard, and they improve their practice. And that's just what good leaders do. And so teaching as leadership just takes those different principles and then codifies it in a way to say, okay, now that we know what good leaders do, how does that really apply to teaching? And in order for us to get to the different achievement that we want for our students in summer, the achievement that we want for our students in the region, we have to make sure that our core members, our staff members, are going to be invested in this such that they can really embody it and then make sure that they are using it in order to make those gains. So we're going to spend this session really just making sure that you all have the tools that you need to develop a positive orientation towards the TAL framework, and then also to then instill that in your core members, and then secondly, to make sure that you have a positive orientation towards the TAL rubric, and then you can develop that into your core members as well. So our objective, I just said the objective, the agenda for today, we're going to talk a little bit about the framework. We're going to get involved in the quiz. We did some pre-work around the rubric, so we're going to go over that. And then we're going to discuss the structure and the use and how you're going to then use that in your school to make sure that your core members are developing the skills and mindsets around the TAL framework, and then we'll close out. Are there any questions about the agenda? All right.